This is Radio Romania International. You are listening to our one-hour broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and Japan. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn and via satellite Eutelsat 16A on 11,512 MHz vertical polarization, azimuth 16 degrees east. Symbol rate 29,950 megasymbols per second. Standard DVB-S2, modulation 8 PSK, audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Hello, I'm Luca Berasmian with the news. The headlines. A strong fire broke out at the ICU of the Infectious Diseases Hospital in Constanța. Romania, Bulgaria and Moldova are included on the red list of countries and territories with a high epidemiological risk. As of October 1st, the EU citizens will need a passport to enter the UK, proving that they come to work or study or as tourists. And Romania's football champions CFR Cluj ended in a draw. The match played at home against the Danish 11 Randers FC, being last in Group D of Europa Conference League. A strong fire broke out on Friday at the ICU of the Infectious Diseases Hospital in Constanța, southeastern Romania, resulting in 7 deaths. The entire hospital was evacuated and the patients were transferred to other health units in the country. A criminal investigation into negligence and manslaughter has been opened in this case. Dysfunctions and irregularities regarding the fire alert system were identified in this hospital during 2 previous controls, says the Interior Minister Lucian Bode. Sanctions were imposed, but the problems were not remedied. The Romanian Prime Minister Florin Câțu asked for the dismissal of the manager of the Constanța Infectious Diseases Hospital and dismissed the president of the National Authority for Quality Management in Healthcare. This is the 10th fire in less than 12 months to take place in one of Romania's hospitals, many of which are COVID units. Similar tragedies occurred at the end of last year at the county hospital in Piatra Neamț in the northeast and at the beginning of this year at the Matei Balș Institute in Bucharest. Those incidents resulted in death and injuries among patients treated for COVID-19 in intensive care. The Romanian authorities announced on Friday almost 10,900 new cases of SARS-CoV-2 infection out of over 67,000 tests. 169 COVID-associated deaths were also reported, most in unvaccinated people. All deaths were in patients with other health conditions. The number of hospitalized people also continued to increase. At present, there are over 12,500 hospitalized people, 5,500 more than 1 week ago. 1,391 people are in intensive care. More on this issue after the news. The National Committee for Emergency Situations has decided that it is mandatory to wear protective masks in all indoor and outdoor public spaces when the infection rate for a period of 14 days exceeds 6 per 1,000 inhabitants. Regardless of the aggregate incidence rate, the health and education ministries can allow the physical participation of all students in classes. On the other hand, shops will close at 10 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays if the COVID-19 incidence exceeds the threshold of 6 per 1,000, and at the same hour in the rest of the week if the infection rate in that respective locality is higher than 7.5 per 1,000. The National Committee for Emergency Situations has also decided. The Romanian Committee for Emergency Situations has updated the list of countries and territories of high epidemiological risk. Romania has joined the red zone along with the Republic of Moldova, Bulgaria, Armenia, Belarus, and Greenland. Following the drop in the incidence rates, Austria, Switzerland, Gibraltar, Iran, the Maldives, and the Bahamas are now in the yellow zone. The green zone now includes, among other countries, the Netherlands, Germany, and France. Those vaccinated against COVID-19 would not be quarantined if they come from yellow or red list areas. The committee has decided to exempt from the quarantine measure the drivers of goods and passenger vehicles if they provide a negative PCR test result. The new list takes effect on October 3rd. As of October 1st, EU citizens will need a passport to enter the UK, showing that they come to work, study, or as tourists. Identity cards are no longer accepted as valid travel documents following Brexit. Nearly 6 million EU citizens who were in the UK on December 31st, 2020, were eligible to apply for residency, and over 90% of them have received it. In their case, the identity card will continue to be accepted as a travel document until January 1st, 2026. The new immigration system introduced this year means much more border controls because the EU citizens no longer enjoy freedom of movement. Romania's football champions, CFR Cluj, northwest of Romania, ended in a draw, 1-1. The match played on Thursday on home turf against the Danish team Randers FC in Group D of the Europa Conference League. In the other match of the group, the Dutch team AZ Alkmaar defeated Jablonec from the Czech Republic at home 1-0. CFR Cluj ranks last in the group and will play the next match against Alkmaar in Cluj on October 21st. CFR Cluj is the only representative of Romania in the continental competitions. And that was the news from Bucharest, Radio Romania International.
Romania sees growing numbers of coronavirus infections. And Ana Maria Popescu with more details in a commentary written by Leila Kamil. The coronavirus epidemic breaks new negative records in Romania. On Thursday, over 12,000 new cases were reported in the country, only 2 days after a previous record high level. 176 COVID-related fatalities were also reported, most of them among unvaccinated patients. The number of hospital admissions is on the rise as well. Over 12,000 patients were in hospitals on Thursday, 5,000 more than a week ago. The situation in intensive care units is complicated because there are few places left available. The National Committee for Emergency Situations updated the list of high-risk countries, which now includes Romania as well as Moldova, Bulgaria, Armenia, Belarus and Greenland. However, the committee decided that drivers of freight and passenger vehicles are not bound to isolate if they test negative for the virus. Meanwhile, the recent developments gave fresh impetus to the vaccination program in Romania. In several counties, this week saw people queuing in vaccination centers, especially since people were able to get their third vaccine doses as of this Tuesday. We must all make an effort if we are to control this pandemic, and the only way in which we can do this is to get vaccinated. 4 types of vaccine are available in Romania. They are safe, efficient, easy to tolerate. The vaccination process is easy, accessibility is high. The coordinator of the National Vaccination Campaign, Valeriu Gheorghiță, pointed out. Gheorghiță emphasized recently that the benefits are huge and the loss is hard to quantify at the moment. But at this point, the research shows that the long-term impact is significant. More and more voices say we will have to get used to living with this virus. My view is that we mustn't get used to living under these circumstances, with hospitals filled with patients and ICUs overcrowded and people losing their lives every day to this disease, Valeriu Gheorghiță said. To encourage the vaccination campaign, the authorities are now organizing a vaccination lottery. The Health Ministry announced that any fully vaccinated person may take part and that the total prizes amount to some 3 million euros.
The fate of the government led by the Liberal Florin Câțu depends on Tuesday's vote in Parliament. I'm Cristina Matescu with this report by Roxana Vasile. things stand, the days of the current government are numbered. A no-confidence motion initiated by the Social Democratic Party and read out on Thursday is to be debated and put to the vote on Tuesday, the 5th of October. Voting in favor of the motion will be the Social Democrats, the Ultra-Nationalist Alliance for the Union of Romanians, and also, it appears, USR Plus, a party that until not long ago was part of the coalition government, together with the National Liberal Party and the Democratic Union of Ethnic Hungarians in Romania. That would make for 280 votes, much more than the 234 needed for the motion to pass. The MPs of USR Plus were not in the room when the motion was read out, a document in which they are also criticized, and the Liberals are hoping that they will change their minds by voting day. For the time being, however, USR Plus seems determined to go all the way to get rid of Florin Câțu as Prime Minister. In their no-confidence motion, the Social Democrats are accusing the coalition government of incompetence and wasting public money. Their leader in the Chamber of Deputies, Alfred Simonis, read out the document. Every day with the Câțu government in power is another day when the lives of Romanians are affected by poverty, the development of the local communities blocked, and the future of the country marked by toxic borrowing that will sacrifice entire future generations. The Social Democratic Party also says electricity and natural gas bills exploded, that 7 million Romanians are sentenced to poverty, that the absorption of European funds is insignificant, and the management of the pandemic compromised. Convinced that their motion will pass, the Social Democrats say the only solution to the current political crisis are a technocratic government and early elections. Florin Câțu has responded by accusing his political adversaries of wanting to blow up the country and bringing down the government instead of thinking of solutions for the people. He is sure he will stay on as Prime Minister. However, even if the Social Democrats' motion fails, there's another one against his government pending in Parliament, initiated by USR Plus and the Alliance for the Union of Romanians, in which the Social Democrats said they would vote for. In this motion, the Prime Minister is accused of being incapable of running a coalition government and unable to overcome narrow party logic and of seeming determined to sacrifice general interest and the welfare of the country's citizens. And that was Radio Newsreel.